from GPS Training. Welcome to the latest walk and talk. So where I'm at today and what walk I'm going to do. I'm actually in Scotland today. I'm in Peebles in the Scottish borders. I've actually just started off one of our GPS training courses that we do here. I got Andy, my colleague, to start that. I've started him off on that course. And then I'm going to go for a nice walk with a GPS unit. So what GPS unit am I going to use to go with? A Garmin eTrex 32X. If you read any of the reviews I do online, I always say the eTrex 32X is the best budget button GPS unit currently on the market. And I'm just going for a nice 6-7 mile walk with that. So what do I do? As with any other my walk and talks, I plan it first on the computer. So let's go to our website, which is gpstraining.co.uk, and click on OS Planner on the top menu bar, and that takes you to our free ordnance survey route planning software. So it's actually already centered on Peebles, but if it wasn't, we could just search for Peebles here. Press go, and there are Peebles in the Scottish borders. Key thing is, because we're in Scotland, we don't have rights of way. We have a right of open access anywhere. So again, before we start anything, I'm just going to pan out a little bit and just kind of get an understanding, just kind of think out in my head where I'm going to go. So I'm going to follow this path up there, then come back down here, and then skirt around the river. So nice thing is with this, you pan out to 1 to 50,000, get an overview, and then once you know where you're going to go, zoom in on the 125,000 mapping, and then I can start my route planning software. So we're going to take this long distance trail. So what I do is I just click on the map. Every time there's a major corner, and you see I start creating that route, and it shows you that dialog box on the left hand side. And that's me there at the end. So you can just see all the waypoints on the left hand side. You see I've done 166 waypoints. As long as it's below 250 waypoints, we're okay. So you need to change this. I'm just saying it's Peebles, walk and talk. And then I go down the bottom and I literally just download the GPX file. So there's the GPX file. Just download the GPX file and it just ends up on my downloads. And I can just see it there and open it up. So there's my Peebles GPX file. So I just need to copy that. So I just need to right click and then I make a copy of that. Copy Peebles GPX file. Then you just find my Garmin on the left hand side. It's exactly the same on a Windows as a PC, just to be in Windows Explorer. And you just on my Garmin, just look for my folder that says GPX. And I need to just paste that in there, paste my item there. And my Peebles or walk and talk is on my Garmin GPS device. So it's today at 25 to 7 at night. So that's me all sorted. Again, that's how you can use that free route planning software. And now back to the start of the walk. So what do you do at the start of the day's walking? I've already calibrated my compass. It's got a 3-axis compass on this GPS unit, so I've already calibrated my compass. I'm just going to go to the satellite page and make sure I've got a satellite signal. You see I've got a 2-meter accuracy, and I literally just switched this GPS unit on. There's my 10-figure grid reference, and you can see it's utilising the GLONASS, the GPS and GLONASS with an accuracy of 2 meters. So cracking reception from this small GPS unit. What do we do next? We need to reset our trip and track data. So I'm literally going to trip computer right at the top. When I'm on the trip computer, I'm just going to reset that. So just press enter on that trip computer, and then I literally just press the menu button, and you get the option to reset. I press reset, and then come down to reset my trip and track data, which is this one there, reset my trip and track data. Are you sure when to reset it? The answer is yes. And now I've reset my trip and track data. Next thing I need to do is I need to go and load the route I've planned on the free route planning software. So just go to where to. It's right at the top, press where to. This time I'm going to select my routes, come down to route, select route. There's my walk and talk, my Peebles walk and talk that I planned last night on the computer. It takes a few seconds just to load up. It's quite a lot of waypoints. Overlays on the ordnance survey mapping. There we are, I've got in kilometers, 9.3 kilometers. Just press go, and then I'll be able to navigate around that walk. So So I've not got my compass rose at the top like I have on many times. So this time I'm just going to go to my compass page. Then I get my directional arrow in the direction I need to go walking in. So what do? We just follow that arrow. Just starting my climb up a little bit. Just got Peebles in the background now, so we've got Peebles just behind me. Population of just about, well, just under 9,000 I think it is. A big fan of Peebles. We've done GPS training courses here for a number of years now. Lovely little town, so nestled around the River Tweed, which we saw was where we started the walk from. There's hotels there, restaurants there, supermarket, petrol stations, kind of got all those local amenities. But you got some really nice walking from the doorstep. As you can see all around me, some well, there's lovely places where you can walk from where you're staying if you're visiting. Some really nice walking. One key thing about Scotland, again, please apologise if you already know this, but you don't have rights of way in Scotland. So in England and Wales and Northern Ireland, we have footpaths, bridleways, and permissive paths, and also green lanes as well. But in Scotland, we have a right to go anywhere. So there's no trespass law when you're up in the uplands and also the lower areas. So again, you can go anywhere. So paths are a little bit hard to find on the Ordnance Survey map, but again, when you get out there, they're actually well walked still. So that's one of the differences of walking in Scotland compared to England. You'll notice today, I've not put any Ordnance Survey on this GPS unit. I'm just running it on the TOPO Active mapping. I can only really do this because I've pre-planned it before on the Ordnance Survey mapping on that OS planner on the GPS training website. Now the problem with the TOPO Active mapping in the UK, especially in England and Wales and Northern Ireland, it just shows everything as a path. It doesn't say it's a footpath, bridleway, or frankly a private drive. And we really need to know that information when we're out walking. So this is why we have to plan on the Ordnance Survey mapping. Now I've planned before on the Ordnance Survey mapping, I've pre-planned my route, I'm actually just overlaying it on the TOPO Active mapping. So therefore I already know I am where I should be, or where I can be, and therefore I can just get away with the TOPO Active mapping. If you're buying a GPS unit, if you can afford it, do get the Ordnance Survey mapping if you're in the UK. That gives you the flexibility to, if you need to plan on the hoof, so again, if something goes wrong and I want to get down off the hill or off my walk, I can see where my footpaths are, I can see where my bridleways are, and I get that permissive path and that little bit more detail. So if you can afford it, do get the Ordnance Survey mapping when you buy your GPS unit. Alternatively, you can get away with a TOPO Active mapping that's on the GPS unit, but you really have to pre-plan on some free route planning software before you go to give you the extra detail that you really should have on your GPS unit. But alternatively, you can do that beforehand. You can get away with just the TOPO Active mapping on your GPS unit. TOPO Active mapping is a proper digital map. So as you zoom in, you get more information. You zoom out, you get less information. A lot of people say, oh, what scale is TOPO Active mapping? It's to 1 to 10, 1 to 25, 1 to 50k. It's lots and lots of different scales. Very different than Ordnance Survey mapping, which is a fixed scale, say 1 to 50,000 or 1 to 25,000. So it has plus points and negative points on it. So you can get away with just using the TOPO Active mapping as long as you pre-plan before you go. Alternatively, you can afford it, do put the Ordnance Survey mapping on your GPS unit. Little micro SD slot that under the batteries and you can just pop it in there, then you get your Ordnance Survey mapping if you're walking in the UK. So where does the Garmin eTrex 32X sit in the range of Garmin outdoor GPS units? In the eTrex range, there's actually 4 GPS units. The eTrex 10, you may have seen, is a black and white base model, which you've seen I've done a walk and talk with that in the past. There's an eTrex 22X and 32X, and there's also an eTrex Touch 35. eTrex Touch 35 is exactly the same size screen, but as a touchscreen GPS unit. There used to be a 25T as well, but that's sadly been discontinued. So we've then, in the middle of it, we've got eTrex 22X and 32X. What's the difference between each of these units is they've both got the 2.2 inch screen, but the 22X doesn't have the barometric altimeter and doesn't have the electronic compass. The electronic compass gives you accuracy at small movements. So if you can afford it, it's worth it, because the accuracy at small movements, if I stop and I'm want to know which direction I want to go walking in, the electronic compass will give me the accuracy when I'm stationary or when I'm walking very, very slowly. When I'm walking a little bit quicker, I use the satellite to get that directional arrow in this case. So if you can afford the 32X, it's worth it over the 22X. Now, a button GPS unit gives you the benefit of you can use it with gloves on in winter, and you can see when I've been using it, you've got that little toggle at the top there. Now, little toggle at the top, people either love it or hate it on the eTrex range. Again, it's a little bit fiddly. You've got to push down on it, and some people can't push directly down on it and end up on the wrong menu or something like that. So again, that's the benefits and the downside. It doesn't bother me, but I know when delivering courses, sometimes people see people struggling a little bit with that toggle. If you can get over that, really nice budget GPS unit. The benefit of a unit being this size is the battery life on it. Because it's a button GPS unit with a relatively small screen, this 2.2 inch screen, we get a very, very good battery life. So a lot of people, again, will use this as a backup, ultra venters, people out for long hikes, long walks. Again, a really nice budget unit that you can just run off just normal AA batteries. You don't need anything specific on there. Now, if you see the videos where I do the best budget GPS unit, I also bring in the eTrex 65 range, 65 and 65S into that category. I think that's maybe a little bit unfair, because actually it's significantly more expensive than what we find with these GPS units. So if you are on a true budget, Garmin eTrex 32X is a great unit to consider. Great battery life on it. Button GPS unit, so you can use it with your gloves on, but just be aware that little toggle at the top can be a little bit fiddly. You'll either master it or not master it. Drop back down on the stunning River Tweed. This is the River Tweed behind us. Absolutely stunning river. So that actually, the source of that, I don't know if people know, is you follow the road from Moffat to Peebles, go some high ground there and you see the source of the Tweed there. It actually goes out into the North Sea at Berwick-upon-Tweed. Kind of giveaway is the name, isn't it? So Berwick-upon-Tweed is where the Tweed actually ends up in England, doesn't it? Because Berwick-upon-Tweed's in England, ends up in England. It's the source in Scotland and it ends up in England. It goes out to the North Sea in Berwick-upon-Tweed. So that's lovely. So climb that high ground, drop back down to the River Tweed, and remember my route plan, I did that bit of a loop which goes up one side of the river, then comes back around the other side. And my Garmin eTrex 32 I've got on a backpack tether. You know, I'm a massive fan of the backpack tether. Really nice way of carrying any of these smaller GPS units. Goes all the way up to 66 range. You can carry on this Oregon and all the eTrex ones as well. The only ones you can't do is like the Montana range, Montana 700 range now. Again, it's really nice because again, it's just attached to me with that bit of Velcro. It's also on a cord as well, so if I drop it, nothing happens to it. It's always attached to me, and then I'll stick it on to my rucksack there with a backpack tether. Really nice, compact, lightweight GPS unit, and it works very, very well on the backpack tether. So again, if you get any Garmin GPS unit that works with that backpack tether, do make sure you get one. It's a great combination. And again, it keeps you attached. You're never going to lose it because it's always attached. As long as you don't lose your rucksack, you're never going to lose your GPS unit. So let's look through the different various pages on the Garmin eTrex 32X. You see I keep pressing the little button because it's actually a double day. Garmin's look stunning on a sunny day. The screen looks absolutely stunning, but on a dull day, it's not quite as good. So I'm keeping that backlight on, just see. So I'm on my map page. I've got the compass rose at the top, and then I've got the TOPO Active mapping underneath. And on this unit, you press the back button, it takes you back to the main menu. So what do we have on there? You have your where to, which is where I find my route, or you find your waypoints. You can mark a waypoint, so again, if you want to mark a specific point, you can mark that. You've got the compass page, which is the other one I tend to navigate on. So again, that's got the compass roads there. We've got that electronic compass built in. It also tells you the speed you're walking at, distance to your next waypoint, estimated time to destination, and time to next waypoint. Again, those all are changeable as well. I go back to, I've got my trip computer. Trip computer tells me how far I've walked, average speed. So I've walked 4.2 miles, 559 feet above sea level, speed I'm walking at, etc, etc. Maximum speed, moving time, moving average, and then just keep pressing the back button. Setup is how I set up the GPS unit. Elevation plot, okay, it's got the barometric altimeter because it knows where it's going. It's showing what's ahead of us as well. We've got that down below of where we've been, so we're like where the green and the blues join. And then we've got various things. Geocache comes pretty low with geocaching and various other things like that. All right, down right at the bottom is where we started off with the compass, with the GPS signal, isn't it? So right down at the bottom, we've got the GPS signal. So it shows now we've got a 11 feet accuracy. Change it back to feet with the elevation 547, and there shows the satellites in the sky. That's your basic overview. You just keep pressing the back button to go back to that main menu, then you move yourself around it. So it's going to head up onto the old railway bridge here, so we skirt up this little path here, get some wonderful views up here as we cross the River Tweed and start our return journey on the way back. Crossing the stunning Neidpath railway viaduct is actually designed by a resident of Peebles. So it's a guy called Robert Murray. Robert Murray designed and built this viaduct. He's actually just down the road in Peebles, so it's lovely that a local architect designed and built this wonderful. Crossing the River Tweed. Actually here the railway actually goes into a tunnel. You can actually walk through the tunnel. I've never done it. I suppose you need a head torch, but you can go under the trees now. It actually passes into a tunnel, this old railway line. It actually comes back out at Peebles because we're going to skirt round this higher ground, and we can just see it behind us. You see the entrance just behind us. We're going to skirt off to our left here and just follow the River Tweed back around as we head back into Peebles. You can hear my GPS beeping. That's because I'm following a route. That's a different navigation experience we get between a route and a track. People often ask what's the difference. A route, you get that audible beep when I'm approaching a waypoint, which tells me, draws my attention to it and tells me I need to change direction. A track will give me a silent navigation. So as navigating a track, my GPS won't be beeping at me, just be that silent navigation. The other key thing is number of waypoints. You saw yesterday I checked the number of waypoints. A route has a maximum of 250 waypoints and a track has a maximum of 20,000 track points. So one of the mistakes people make is they over plan a route, put too many waypoints in and make it more than 250, which won't work on a GPS unit. Now, I'm talking what's called direct routing now, which is a straight line from waypoint to waypoint. There are some options where we can use turn-by-turn routing, and they're actually limited to 50 waypoints or via points in that situation. So I'm navigating a route, which is limited to 250 waypoints, and you see that audible beep every time I approach. I'm just going to switch my camera off because the path kind of skirts down there, so make sure I don't end up on my backside. So yeah, that's the difference in a route and a track. Number of waypoints is 250 waypoints for a route and 20,000 track points for a track. Questions I get all the time is how do we get that compass rose on the top of the map page? So I'm going to quickly show you how you get that compass. The compass rose at the top of the map page. Of course, we're going to be on the map page. We just press enter on that map page. We're on the map page. We just press the menu button on the left hand side, and then we press the little joystick down on map setup. So you can see here I've got orientation track up, which means that my map is always going to be orientated the way I'm walking. You got one that says data fields. That's what you need to do. Press data fields and you need to select dashboard. You get various options you can choose there. So I choose dashboard. When you choose your dashboard, it says what do you want on that dashboard at the top. So in this case we select the compass. So we've got orientation tracker up, data fields, compass. I switch the auto zoom off. I'm not a big fan of the auto zoom, which is the advanced setup, so that stops you zooming in on that map all the time. So again, I switch auto zoom off there, so auto zoom's off. That's one of the other settings I always put on there. So I've got the that in place. Just I'm pressing my back key there to keep coming out of that, and now I've got the compass rose at the top. Now your compass rose won't have that green arrow in it unless you're navigating a route. So if you're not navigating a route or you're navigating to a waypoint, that compass rose would just be empty at the top. But again, when we're navigating a route or a track or doing a track back or to a waypoint, we get that green arrow in the top. So you can see our route underneath overlaid with all the little pins, which are the waypoints, and then we get the green arrow at the top pointing the direction that we need to go walking. So that's how you put the compass rose on the top. Again, by default it doesn't come like that, so it's just really nice, easy setup there of how you set that up to get the compass rose on the top of the map. It's approaching the end of the walk, so we can just see on the trip computer we've done 5.81 miles, speed 2.9 miles an hour, overall average 2.9 miles an hour, moving average 3.2. So again, that's the trip computer page. Go back to the compass page. It's distance to the next waypoint, estimated time of destination 11:44, time to next waypoint, and back to our map page. These are the main pages you're going to navigate on. The compass rose at the top just shows us coming to that bridge now that we're just about to cross the bridge. Approaching the end, so this is back in the, this is where we start off, just over there. And you can see on the map page, we're just navigating back to the road, which is where I finished it. So this is just up here. So we should get arriving at, again, alternatively, we're navigating on our compass page, give a little bit more information. So 179 feet, 170, counts it down, tells you the seconds to the end of the walk as well. Now, as we approach, we should get an approaching audible beep as we approach the end of the walk. So must just be on the other side of the road actually, mustn't it, I think? A bit up this road here. So there it is. So approaching the end of the waypoint, it'll take us back to the classroom where we're based. Great. Arriving at 166, that's our last waypoint. Just press OK, and that's us finishing the walk. So let's just finish off and save our trip and track. So what do we need to do at the end of the day's walking? So what we need to do is stop the navigation. So how do we stop the navigation? Exactly the same way that we started it. We go along to where to. So go to where to, select on where to, and you see the option to stop navigation. So we stop that navigation like that. Okay, so if we go to our compass page, we'll see now it's completely blank. So we've lost the green arrow, we've lost the distance index because we're not actually navigating routes. That's the way our compass page looks when we're not navigating. Next thing we need to do is save that trip and track data. So if we just go back to our main menu and we come down to our track manager on this unit. So come down to our track manager, select on track manager. You see current track at the top, I just put enter on current track, and I come down to save track, I just press down on the save track. Okay, by default it saves at the time, so it's 11:46. Just come down to the bottom and press done. Okay, it exports that track. So it says save the current track. Do you want me to delete it? Yes, we do. So it's delete it out of the current track data. So just select that. So there's our track that we've saved. So at the end of the day's walking, we've stopped navigating the route, and then we've saved that track, which is a record of our trip. I very much hope you've enjoyed the latest walk and talk from myself, John, here at GPS Training on the Garmin eTrex 32X. If there's anything you would like me to cover in future walk and talks, please do leave a comment in the comment box below. And if you are watching on YouTube, please press the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified of future walk and talks or videos from ourselves at GPS Training. So from a wonderful Peebles in the Scottish borders, a fond farewell, and I very much hope you can join me again in the near future.